Hello everyone, this is Forgeries and Fakes, the 7th class of AKA Science's Forensic Science Kit. In today's class, we're going to have you do the post-survey. We'll go over that in just a little bit. As luck would have it, we have bubkiss for prep steps this time around. Our vocab terms are counterfeit, a fraudulent imitation of something else, or a forgery, craquelure, a network of fine cracks in the paint or varnish of a painting. Fake news, information deliberately fabricated and published with the intention to deceive and mislead others into falsehoods or doubting verifiable facts. Forgery, a copy of a document, banknote, signature, or work of art meant to look and pass as the original. Provenance, a record of ownership of a work of art or an antique, used as a guide to authenticity or quality. Before we dive into our activities, let's talk about the post-surveys. The post-survey is the only real requirement AKA Science has of its instructors. It's basically a little short quiz about some of the topics covered across the class sessions, and really shouldn't take longer than 5 or 6 minutes for your students to complete. We appreciate the opportunity for feedback, so please make sure you get those surveys back to us. Once that's out of the way, we can get cracking on our first activity. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Or is it? If you remember way back to class 1, you'll recall that the most important activity of the kit starred my 17-year-old healer mix, Steve. These next activities are tied for second most important. Why? Because they star my other dog, itty-bitty beautiful baby Judy, a 5-year-old Chihuahua. Oh, and I guess my wife Chelsea is in there too, whatever. Anyway, so here's the story. Apparently, my wife decided to buy Judy a Mark Rothko painting for her birthday, a totally normal and reasonable thing to purchase for a 7-pound dog. But Judy, being the wise little creature she is, suspects Chelsea may have been duped into buying her a fake. We are going to test it and find out. Have your students examine the painting sample. You may want to cut it into quarters depending on how many students you have. Then pass out the flashlights and the Rothko signature sheets. Use the flashlights to check for any images that might be under the painting and compare the signature on the painting to the one on the worksheet. Based on those two pieces of evidence, we can pretty clearly see that the painting is in fact a big fat phony. Sorry, Chels. Given this deception, it's natural to assume Judy would want to test her other gift in our next activity, counterfeit cash. In addition to a fake Rothko, my wonderful wife Chelsea also gave Judy $1 whole, and we need to make sure it's real. Pass out the fake dollars and the dollar bill features worksheet and have them compare and discuss the ways to spot a fake. Next, open the envelope labeled Judy's dollar and let your students examine it. Then bust out the counterfeit marker. The 6th through 8th grade kits have a bottle of iodine instead of the marker. Explain to your students that the marker ink contains iodine, or I guess that the iodine contains iodine, which on its own is orangey brown, but reacts with starch to turn a deep black. How does this help us spot fake money, you might ask? Well, dollars are printed on a proprietary fabric blend of 25% linen and 75% cotton, neither of which contains starch. So the marker or iodine swab will stay that weird orangey brown color. Regular paper does contain starch, so the marks will turn black on a fake. Test the fake dollar, test Judy's dollar, compare the results, and lo and behold, it's real. Now that we've given Judy some peace of mind about her dollar, let's unsettle her one more time with some fake news. It's no secret that fake news is everywhere these days. This activity gives your students some solid litmus tests to help them determine whether or not a news article is genuine. Some of these tips include things like checking for spelling mistakes, checking the source of the information, and asking yourself, does it sound like a joke? Discuss the indicators, and have your students assess whether or not this story about Rothko's famous red rectangle getting stolen is fake. Because, turns out it is. So, with a special thanks to Judy and Chelsea, let's get cleaned up, debrief, and case closed. Thank you for joining me. Any questions, check out akascience.org. That's 7 down, 1 more class to go.